This is an interview that I'm very excited to bring you and to be able to speak with Minnie, who is going to help you find more leads with ease and her system for doing that. So, Minnie, welcome. It's fantastic that you're here today. And
Thank you so
tell us
much.
a little bit about your background and where you're calling in from and all of that jazz.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Lucy. I appreciate you having me on here, and it's going to be really fun today talking about different ideas for lead generation, which is basically what I do. So I help small businesses and entrepreneurs and startups basically get their system running for getting more clients in the door, and then how to convert those clients into actual sales. I spent a lot of time in marketing and advertising over 20 years in different industries. And about 2.5 years ago, I decided to start my own business because I wanted to run it the way that I wanted to and help the people that I wanted to help. I was working at that higher corporation level, and I really wanted to come down and help people that were starting out because the number of people that start businesses excited and ready to go and then end up quitting because it didn't work out. I just feel like they don't have the resources to have given it the right chance, right? To
Mm.
actually succeed. So I want to help those people that are excited, they want to get it off the ground, and I can help them with that aspect of the technology, the lead generation, and how to convert into sales.
Fantastic. So very different from your background, but you will have done a whole ton of learning from your background to be able to then bring that to the present, won't you?
Exactly. Yeah. My background is basically science. I was a scientist by training. I was a biochemist and I taught at the university level and did research. I have my doctorate in biochemistry and then decided I didn't want to work at the lab bench. I wanted to be a lot more interactive with the business side of me that was coming alive at that point. So I got my MBA and then started working in marketing and operations and advertising for various companies. It was all like a learning experience and a connecting the dots. I think that we can never say that, oh, I wish that I wouldn't have done this for 20 years first, because what a waste of time that was, because it wasn't a waste of time. That was your path. And during your path, if you really think about everything that you learned and did, you were able to connect the dots. And eventually those dots led you exactly to where you are now. And so all those experiences add up to where you are. So we can never look at anything as being a waste of time. That's my opinion.
I totally agree with that. Absolutely. And it's giving that perspective, isn't it? It's going, I can name it this, or from a different perspective, I can name it something completely different that's really positive and serves me. So that was
Absolutely.
a waste of time. It's almost like a relationship that you've had, and you think, well, that was a waste of 6 years because we've ended up splitting up. But actually, what have I learned from that relationship? I've learned what I don't want to have, how I don't want to be treated, how I do
Mhm.
want to be treated, and all of those sorts of things. And
Right.
so it's a learning. And in fact, I think we were speaking about this before. The longer we are on that learning path, the more we have to give.
Yeah.
So it's like we've matured over time, like a good cheese.
Mhm. And a good wine.
Or a good wine. Oh, it's wine. Oh, let's have a party. Um, and we can bring all of that now, all of that goodness to the people that we're serving.
Yes,
So I think
absolutely.
that's wonderful. So
Mhm.
share a little bit more then about the process of that transition for you, Minnie, because although we're going to go on to your system and how you help people and all of that, how was that transition for you? Because that's also an important part of discovering that's actually what I want to do now. That's how I want to serve. I want to take back control, which sounds like the process that you went through. So the
Yeah.
transition from corporate to being an entrepreneur yourself,
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
huge.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to take it back to when I was getting my doctorate, like you said, Lucy, I could look at that as 6 years wasted. Why did I do that? But actually, the problem solving, the critical thinking, the writing, the ability to speak on stage, all of those things are what was the foundation of where I am now. So that was the foundation, right? And then I went into corporation and industry. I worked in biotech and pharmaceuticals, which was a natural fit for me, and then industry as far as like hospital based and clinics and healthcare. And my main transition, actually, ever since the beginning, I've wanted to help women grow their businesses or women in general. And I couldn't figure out what can I do to encourage women to go to higher learning or to fit into a world that maybe they didn't feel like they fit into based on education and culture. And I could not figure out exactly how to do that. Literally, it took me 30 years to finally figure it out. So, but that's okay because I eventually did. And now I feel like this is my life's work and this is my life's purpose. So, what happened was about 2.5 years ago, as I was still like in the back of my mind wondering, how am I going to do this? How can I transition into more what I feel my life's purpose is? I went through a very stressful time in my life where my husband fell ill. And during that time, I had to really take over a lot of what he was doing. And it was just a lot going on in the background. And when he came out of it, thankfully, knock on wood, everything's fine. His health is great. I came to the realization that we don't know what the future holds for us. So the time really is now. If you have an idea that's been percolating and you want to do something about it and you've just been sitting and waiting for the right time, the time really is now. Just get going. And it doesn't mean you have to make huge leaps every single day. Make those small little advances forward. Talk to the right people. Get into the right rooms. That's critical. Get into rooms with other people who are doing what you want to aspire to do, because that will be like an expansion for you to see that this is possible. I too can do this. And then get with other people who are also growing their businesses. And I would say one of the biggest things that changed everything around for me when I started my business was to get a mentor. Actually, I have 3 mentors that I use because they can take you to the next level much faster because they know and can guide you on what's the fluff, what are the things you shouldn't waste your time on right now, and what are the things that are really going to catapult you to the next level in your business and your work. So
That's such great
that's,
advice. All of that is such great advice. Go
yeah.
the tiny steps, one step at a time, not looking too far ahead, taking
Hmm.
it a little bit by a little bit and not jumping straight over the fence into one thing
Yeah.
from another. So, and
Yeah.
yeah, and the mentors, absolutely.
Get mentors. And I think the other thing, if I was to give advice, is don't overconsume information. That's one thing that I did where I was listening to so many podcasts. I was taking notes. I had so many notebooks. I had so many Word documents. And then I would think, wow, there was a really great idea yesterday. What was that idea? And, there's so many ideas because you're writing down everybody else's idea. And so I think that what really helped me is when I just stepped back and I said, okay, 2 podcasts that I'm going to listen to or 2 people that I'm going to follow. And those are the ones that I'm going to watch in a week. So I might watch a couple of podcasts in a week or listen to them as I'm going on a walk or driving in the car or something. But no more than that. No matter what I see come up on LinkedIn or on Facebook, just follow your path. Focus on what you're interested in doing, your service or your product or whatever. Get a couple of people that you're following, get a mentor or 2. That's all you need. And then the tiny steps forward.
Then it's putting your blinkers on, isn't it? And not being able to see that shiny stuff that's going over here. And then now I can't
Exactly.
see you.
Oh my gosh. That's a game changer. Don't you think, Lucy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Somebody was asking me about that yesterday. It's like, how do you focus? You just tune into one thing. You stay in your lane. I've heard so many, it's not just coaches, it can be therapists, and they've got so many, like this huge list of things that they do. And I'm like, I only want this one thing, right? So maybe you're looking at, I know, reflex, you want someone who does reflexology. Now, if somebody's got a list of 5, 6, 7, 8 things that they do, and reflexology happens to be one, and there's somebody else that maybe just does reflexology and specializes in that, I'm going to the one that specializes in what I want to have done. And so it's just tuning in. It doesn't mean that she's shutting somebody else out, because I could also say, oh, do you do any other therapies? And maybe she does,
Mhm.
but I know she's really tuned into her craft, and that's going to be super special. So it is staying in that lane and not
Yes.
worrying about everybody else out there, because they're for somebody else to serve in that way.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I mean, people that are going to For what I do, lead generation, conversion, sales, and those kinds of things, there are plenty of people that do the same thing that I do, but I bring something a little bit different to it, right? And so people that are going to be attracted to work with me are basically based upon my energy, and the people that are wanting to work with me, something is telling them that this is the person that's going to help me move forward, right? And what might work for you is going to be different than what might work for somebody else. And so there are so many people that offer so many amazing things, but you connect with, when you choose mentors, you connect with those people that you feel like this is the person. I've seen 4 or 5 other people and how they present information and what I think I can learn, but this is the person. For some reason, that's the one that's going to take me where I need to go.
And I think that's really tuning into your intuition as well. So if you're intuitive and you're on that energetic level, that's easier than somebody who's not intuitive. And they're just like,
Exactly.
oh, they've been going for 20 years and they've got X number of customers and they're earning so much, they must be the best. Not
Right.
necessarily.
Yes.
Actually.
True. And I think sometimes the larger agencies, and what I do, the larger agencies are the ones that you feel like, oh, wow, they've made a bazillion dollars and have been doing this for so many years, like you said, Lucy. But because they're so big, they may not be able to serve at the level that a person with a smaller business that is much more personalized and customized and can spend the time and is invested in you can help you. So really you have to think about both of those things. Do you want that large agency because they've scaled it to that level, or do you want somebody who's going to be a lot more personalized and accessible? That's the other thing. Sometimes these people with the large agencies that we know, they are not accessible. You're speaking to their teammates and other people that are working for them, like one out of 100 people you might be speaking to, and you may not get the same person all the time. So I really tend to go with people that I know I have access to
Yeah.
and that will actually speak to me and can answer my questions.
And do you find that's also been a learning curve? So for me, definitely that was a learning curve, getting on to programs and finding I was 1 out of 200 on a call. And I'm like, I'm not going to be seen. I'm not going to be heard. I can listen and learn, but that's actually not what I want.
Mhm.
Because like you said, when you've got that one-to-one personalization, customization, link to that person, you're going to move so much faster. And you may well not be paying that much more, but
Mhm.
because that person is
Right.
also really understanding your level, they're holding your hand and they're like, hey, I get it, I understand. Whereas those people 20
Yes.
years ahead, they've forgotten what it's like to be starting out or moving to the next level than starting out. I do.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think for the coaches out there, my recommendation would be don't feel like you have to know everything about everything in order to start your business. If you are 2 steps ahead of the person that you're trying to help, that's how you're going to help them more, right? Because you are closer to where they are. So think of it as you're climbing a mountain. You are 2 steps ahead of the person behind you, and you can reach down and take their hand and help them get to the next step. If you're the guru sitting at the top of the mountain and there's someone that needs help down below, you can't possibly reach your hand down there and pull them up, right? So that is kind of a really good analogy of feeling confident in who you are and what you know, and knowing that there's a person just behind you that needs your help. So don't be nervous. Don't try to be the guru at the top of the mountain. Just be that guy that's a couple steps ahead.
And those gurus are needed for the ones who are nearer the top of the mountain, right? But
Hmm.
are waiting to go, I need to just push through to that next step. So there's a reason that they're there. There
Yeah.
are people there for everybody because everybody's 2 steps will get ahead of somebody and also
Yes.
2 steps behind somebody else. That's why we need coaches as well.
Exactly. Oh, that's a great analogy. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, everybody does, right? Everybody
yeah,
needs like someone to potentially tell them, okay, you're here now. Because if you are, let's say you're making $100,000 in your business and you're ready now to move to $1 million in your business, that is a whole different level
yeah,
of what your business needs to look like. So now you need that next person that's going to be able to pull you up to that level.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So with all that
Anyway,
said, Minnie, let us find out more about what you do, how you do it, how you work. Let's get to the nuts and bolts and share your
okay.
goodies.
Yeah, I would love to. So, when I started my business, I was basically helping people social media advertising and building their funnels for them. So, very technically oriented. I was helping people who have their business, they're in their zone of genius, but they don't want to deal with the technical stuff. They've tried doing it themselves and they've realized that that is a whole other learning curve and they want to stay in what they're good at. So I started with the social media advertising and building out the funnels for them. Um, and so for anyone that doesn't know what a funnel is, basically it's where you go. Like if you've been on Facebook, I'm sure you've clicked on an ad here and there, and then you're taken somewhere else that may look like a website. But what it is actually usually a funnel. So it looks like a website. It's something very specific to your offer or what was on your ad. And it guides people through a process by which at the end of the process, they're taking action on what you want them to take action on. For example, if you're a coach and you're trying to look for someone to book a call with you, the very end result at the end of that funnel is going to be book a call. If it's like a product that you want somebody to purchase, then the end result of that is going to be purchase this product, right? So I create personalized funnels for people. And then I realized that after speaking to many, many people, that a lot of entrepreneurs and small businesses are not at the point where they're ready to advertise on social media. That requires a lot more resources. It requires also commitment that you're in it for the long haul. It is not something that works immediately, if you want to call it that, in that you sit tight and you wait for the algorithm to work and you wait for people to come, and they will. But sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, we've published and it's been 2 weeks and I've only got in a lead or two. That's kind of the nature of the game. So unfortunately, a few years ago, it was much easier, but now it is a much more crowded space and people have to be really patient if they're going to go into that. And they have to have the resources
I was
to
going to say, you need to have the money to back you and know that's coming in to be able to put it out and invest in it.
absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
so because of that, I decided I needed to start a couple steps behind that to help those people that were not ready for ads yet, but still needed to bring in leads and convert those leads into sales. And then once they're doing that and they're seeing the money coming in, then put some money into advertising on social media if you want it. It's akin to pouring gasoline on it, right? At that point, you pour gasoline on it and you get a lot more leads because you're getting a lot more visibility with the advertising. But initially, what I offer are a couple different products. I have one that's called a lightning test, and it basically helps people with their messaging. So they find out exactly what their clients are responding to based upon language, messaging, phrasing. So that is something that once they know that, they can put it into all of their marketing assets, their email messages, their nurturing campaigns, their webinars, their newsletters. You can put it everywhere, website, because now you know, like, oh, my clients are responding to this kind of language. So that is something that it's more of a starter step. And when you know that language and eventually you do ads, you can also use that language in your advertising down the
So
road.
share, because I know how important this is, right? Explain a little bit more about the language thing. So if somebody's thinking, well, I can just say what I think because I
Mhm.
think I know
Right.
what my person is wanting to hear. So
Mhm.
explain a little bit more about the difference between one and the other, Minnie, and how and the
Yeah.
differences that you found with that.
Yes. Like if you think about it, let's say you're a health and wellness coach and you think that people are really interested in learning how to lose weight because they want to look better, right? So this test actually figures out based upon, and I do it in social media, but it's fast. It's like a week. It's literally a $25 ad spend into social media, but I run the whole thing. I like create it and run the whole thing. And let's say that that person might think, okay, I want to lose weight because I want to look better. And all your messaging is based around that. But then you find out when you actually do the test that, oh, they really want to lose weight because they want to be healthier. It's not so much about looks, but it's more about health. Now, I'm just making this up. Maybe if we did this for you based upon what your offer is, the answer might be different. But just to give you a perspective that what we think the answer is, sometimes it's not what is resonating with your ideal client. So the first thing is we have to know who your ideal client is. And then we have to figure out what is the message that's really going to resonate with them. What are they really looking? What's the problem that they're trying to fix? And what is the transformation they're looking for? And what I'm biased because I'm choosing something that I feel is like what I would want, right? It's not necessarily what your clients would want. So it's a very subconscious way also of figuring it out, because if you do market research, let's say, and you're talking to 30 people and they might give you 30 different answers. And Lucy, you and I were talking about this. It's like when you go to the doctor's office and they ask you, how many drinks do you have per week? And you say 2, but actually you're drinking 8. You're having 8 drinks at home. But that's
I
because
always tell the truth, I promise.
I know, me too. It's us not wanting to disappoint somebody. We want to have it. We want the doctor to think of us favorably. So just by asking the question, you sometimes can change the answer. So this particular test is more at a subconscious level. Nobody is asking them. It's just about like they see something, they click, and they make a decision, basically what's coming down, what's coming through from them. So that is one option that I offer to my clients who are ready to get into messaging and advertising and up leveling their game, but they want to start at a different level. But if I could talk about the assessment platform for a second, that's the one that I think I just feel like if anybody is looking for a starting point to start bringing in those conversions, the assessment platform is honestly where I think people should start. And
Do share a little bit more about that.
okay, so the assessment platform, basically, you've heard of quizzes, you've heard of quiz funnels, we've all taken them. It is like an up-leveling of that. So it is something that I have not seen in the market. And basically what it is you are attracting people in to take an assessment. You can call it an assessment, you can call it a rate yourself. People are always interested in rating themselves to others or to see how well they're doing in something. So thinking about the health thing, we could say, rate your health and wellness for 2025 or something. That would be the hook. Everybody wants to see how healthy they are, right? So you figure out what that messaging is, and then they go into the first page, which basically describes your whole offer, what it is, what you do, what the transformation is, the pain points, everything. You describe it, and then they're given the opportunity to rate themselves. So then they're taken into this assessment, and the assessment is literally a bunch of questions, but the beauty of it is you get to select the questions that you think are relevant to your offer, categories that are important. And then at the end of it, as soon as they hit submit, they're taken to a results page, which is basically a donut chart. And it tells them exactly how they rate overall and within each of the categories. And it's also very personalized because it gives them insights and recommendations in each category of, okay, so you only got a 23% in this particular category. Let's say it's diet. Here are some things you could do right now. So what you're doing is you're giving them something. And when you give them something, they actually want to give you something back. It's like human psychology, right? So at the end of it, when you say, book a call with me and let's discuss this further, it looks like, you could use a little bit of help in these areas. They're much more likely to book a call with you. And that's why the conversion rate on this is 40% on average versus an industry average of 4%. So it's
Oh
like
my
a
goodness.
huge,
I was just about to ask you, what is the difference? So
yeah,
4% to 48
to 40
to
to
40.
40. That's the average. Because it's so personalized. It's personalized to them. It's giving them an answer based upon like their skill set or what they're looking for based on whatever your offer is. And then immediately you're giving them some results and some insights and recommendations. So they're much more likely to think that, oh, wow, she's already given me all this. I haven't even spoken to her. Yeah, I want to book a call and learn more about it, you know? So it works on both ends. It both works for the client because they're getting a lot, and it works for you because you're also getting that information. So before your call with them, you get to see the results and you know exactly what to focus on in your call. And you also can tweak your offer based upon the results, right?
That's really
Nobody,
powerful. That's very
yeah,
powerful, isn't it?
that's why it goes from 4% to 40% because you've created like this really personalized experience for them.
And so when somebody comes to you, you presumably do a call with them first of all, Minnie, so that you're understanding what they want and where you would position them. And then
Exactly.
is there a way that they can work? That's a kind of a working one-to-one with you, is it? Or is that within a group? And is there something else you offer on top of that if they want to work more with you?
Mhm. Yeah, it is one-on-one. Basically, the onboarding consists of me sending a form that needs to be filled out. Once we do that, we have a call. We go through everything. We figure out the categories, the questions, all of that we do. And then I go in the back end and I build out the technology, the entire assessment platform. And then we have another call before we publish. And it usually takes about from start to finish, as soon as I get the onboarding information, as soon as I get the form filled out, I would say it's a good 7 days after that. So it's an actually pretty fast turnaround as opposed to a lot of companies that will say, it might take a month in order to get that published. Now, I will say for ads, it does take longer. It's a lot more to create the ads in the funnel. So that I do have a turnaround of about 3 to 4 weeks, but for this particular product, it's about 7 days.
Oh, that's fast. So
Mhm.
somebody's looking for action and they want to speed things up because I think also, again, from my perspective, when we're getting older, it's like I know I've got less time this side of me, right? I've got more time that I've had on this planet than I'm likely to have left on this planet. I want
Uh-huh.
things to go fast. So
Yeah.
how can I make it go faster? We need to get things moving quicker. How can I do that? I can do that by having a chat with Minnie, finding out if this is right with me, right for me, and
Yeah.
which step to start at. And I think when we spoke last time, you had a bit of a beta thing going. Are there still slots on that for my audience? Or okay, do you want to
Yes.
share that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just because I want to offer you something so that you take action, because our conversation is about take action, move forward, don't wait. Like, what are we waiting for? Let's make this our year, right? Let's make this the time that we're going to grow this business. And we are not going to, one of my favorite phrases with which I think I've told you, Lucy, is failure only happens when you quit. I don't want anybody to quit. I want everybody to build like the business and the life of their dreams and have impact, right?
And that's with the second product that you were talking about, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
amazing assessment. Yeah, the amazing assessment platform.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to learn more, I can put the link into my assessment funnel.
And then if
Okay.
somebody wants to book a call with you, they can, and they can it's all about finding out more and not being afraid to make the call. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, it sounds really interesting, it sounds amazing, is it for me? And let me talk more with Minnie because obviously Minnie and I know each other a little bit. We've come to know each other through the internet and we've had conversations as well. And so I feel very comfortable, but it's like you need to take that next step and actually book a call with somebody to find out how comfortable you feel on the call, right? With any coach, mentor, whatever you're going ahead with. Even
Yes,
if it's phoning up a garage and taking your car in, I like to know that I like the sound of the person on the other end,
it's
right?
true.
And
It's
not just
true.
book it in on oh, you can do this on the internet. Yeah, no, but I want to know what you sound like. Do I
Yeah.
like the sound of you?
No, I
Really
totally agree
important.
with that.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, Lucy, it's not that if you're going to get on a call with me, that this might be the best thing for you. Maybe it's not, but I can at least point you in the right direction. If we have a strategy call and you're telling me more about your business and where you're going, and depending on the stage that you're at, this may not be the right thing for you. And I can at least guide you into what I think your next steps should be. So if nothing else, you'll get like a strategy call out of it.
Yes, but the other thing there is don't just get on if you want a strategy call and not have any reason that you're thinking, well, if this is right, then I will go ahead with it. So don't get on the call just to have a free strategy call with me because that wouldn't be fair either, right? It's like, oh, I can get a
Yeah.
free call here. Wouldn't that be fun? I'm sure none of my ladies would do that, right? But just
Well, it's all
saying.
about movement. It's all about movement and focus. It's really about getting focused in on what your offer is, not thinking, oh, yeah, I could do 10 different things and I'm still trying to figure out. No, focus in on that one thing that people want the most. When you talk to people, the feedback you're getting is that is an amazing offer, right? Go with that. Focus, and you can always iterate later, but go all in on something. And I think having a focus, a word actually helps too. It's the word you think of when you wake up.
Yeah.
It's the word that you have like pinned up by your laptop every day, and you're focused on that word.
It happens to be focus.
Yeah. I mean,
It's,
it's and your word may be different than my word, but for me, that's the word I needed.
yeah,
And I
it
knew I
might be
needed it.
action, right? It might
Yeah.
be take action or do it now. It can
Yes.
be even three little words, right?
Yes. Yes. Whatever is going to motivate you for that day.
Yeah, and focus you on that,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
It's like, okay, what's the message I need to hear? The message I need to hear from Minnie is focus.
Exactly.
Okay, come
And
back.
the other thing I do, this is just a little tip. When I go to bed at night, I try at the very end, like when you're in that sleepy phase, is when your mind is most open and your subconscious is most open to taking in information. That's when you focus on what it is you want, what it is you want to be, and what it is you want out of life or your business or whatever. That's when you just lay back and you say your words of gratitude. I find that saying words of gratitude also have expanded me at so many levels. All of a sudden things started happening. That's a whole different conversation, Lucy. It's not
Sounds like
probably
we need
not.
to have another call, Minnie.
Yeah, that's more about this other whole side of me that has opened up in the last few years. But that's just another recommendation. Like these are the little things we can do that can affect how we think about things. It's not just about doing, it's about becoming, and how do you become,
Yeah.
you know?
It's also that reminder of we're human beings. We are being something, or like you are becoming. You already are that being, but you need to dig down deep inside to become and to find that person again.
Yes.
And I love that about the gratitude. I don't do it so much now, but for years I'd have a book by my bed and I'd write down 3 to 5 things that went well that day. So
Hmm.
I would be going off to sleep with everything that went well. Whatever didn't go to plan,
Yes.
put to one side. It's
Mhm.
like what went well. They can be the tiniest of things. It doesn't matter.
No.
And I was on a group call yesterday and I took my ladies through a visualization
Mhm.
of what it does it look like a year from now. And, they came out of that and we chatted about it. And my suggestion there is to do that every single night before you go off to sleep. So it is
Yeah.
that thing of
Yeah.
go to sleep with the good stuff in your head, right?
Yes.
Because you'll get more of the good stuff.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what I'm saying. You are totally just speaking my language now. That has made a huge difference. People think like, I think sometimes, and I have been that way. My background is science, right? I needed proof. I need everybody to tell me like, well, I can't believe in this unless there's like real scientific proof behind it. And then I realized, oh, wow, yeah, there is scientific proof behind this. And I started doing a lot of reading. And then when I started implementing some of this into my life, I saw that things just changed dramatically. Things started happening where I was like, how did the universe get into alignment here with me about
Hello.
this? But it's because you put it out there and we have energy.
The
And
energy.
our energy fields actually come out of our body. Like it's not just within our body.
Yeah.
Energy is outside of us. So we are interacting with everybody and their energy fields, right? It's not just so cut and dry as what you see is what you get. Sometimes it's what you don't see is
Uh-huh.
what you get, you
Yeah.
know?
And it's also the energy from the past is what you get.
Yes.
So if your energy now is at a higher vibrational energy, it's like, yes, I've got this thing. Yes, it feels so fantastic. I'm on my way.
Yeah.
That's the end. That's what will show up in your future, right? I know there's only now, but I could never get my head around that concept. It's like, there's only now. How does that work? I don't know. But yeah, so
Yeah.
what you're seeing as your reality is actually your past vibration
Hmm.
showing up now. So if you
Hmm.
start to vibrate at a different level and it's working for me and I'm doing so well and
Yeah.
goodness, I'm helping all these people and this money is all coming in and it's so exciting and all the transitions and whatever your business is and however you
Yeah.
see that
Yeah.
future vision, it's like you say, scientifically proven.
Yes.
That's what's going to show up in your tomorrows.
Yes. And it's true.
Yeah.
It will happen. If people start doing it, it will happen. But you also have to take aligned action, right? You can't just think that, oh, I'm ready to make $1 million next year and sit back and just do it like a mantra about that every day. That's not going to happen. It also requires steps and it requires taking aligned action and putting yourself out there with the people that can help you, or with the in the right rooms with expanders who are people that are like who you want to become, right? So there's steps to get there, but the first part is knowing that that's who you are and
Yeah.
embodying that.
Yeah, and I love the aligned action. It's not just about taking any old action. It needs to be aligned with who you are, your values, your spirit, your soul, and what you know that you're here to do. Like you're saying, you knew your purpose, but it took you a while to get onto that
Yes.
platform, which your purpose was, but you were learning all the time, so that when your purpose, you could step into that, you've got all that learning behind you. So that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. And I love to work with people who, also feel aligned in that way. I work with all different types of people who are very much just like practically minded, and this is what I want to do, and you deal with the technology. And that's fine because that's what I do. But when there's that synergy and that communication where you can pick up really quickly, like this is somebody who really is aligned with the same way, thinking about things the same way that I think about things, then it just helps the whole process along.
A whole different level of joy working with that kind of
Mm-hmm.
person, isn't it? It's like, yes, I can help you over here, but I really love working with this person over here. Oh, good, I'm working with this person today. And your
Yeah,
energy rises and everything is quicker because it's like you and I are on the same kind of energy level. We understand, we talk the same kind of language. And so if we work together, it would be so fast. The
yeah,
changes and the transitions would be it'd be so easy, right?
right,
And so it's finding that person that works for you, that is going to be the person that is best to work with to take you to the next level, to take your business to the next level. So,
right. And
yeah,
I think we've all worked with people, whether it's in your own business or in your job that you've had or do have, who you just cannot click with. You try and you try, and you're just like, why can I not click with this? The energy is off. And so what I've realized over time is if the energy is off, let it be off, right? Like I am not going to work really hard to get that to work. I mean, I can still work with the person, but at a different level. Um, because sometimes it's just that it's the energy and you can't do anything about it.
and
So,
it's kind of better to know that at the beginning of a relationship.
mhm,
If you're the coach coaching somebody, you have the choice of working with that person, knowing that the energy is off a bit or not.
right,
Right. So that's
right.
a decision that you can make personally, or I can
Mhm,
make personally. It's like,
mhm,
I know I can help this person. Do I want to be in the energy of that person every single week while I'm coaching them? Because that's
right,
what I do. It's like I would be on that call every single week. And I am in charge of making that decision. So I can't then complain if I take that person on board that that person's energy isn't where I want it to be.
right, right.
Going into that knowing.
And it's okay. Like we're not going to take everybody on. It's not that we have to be desperate in our businesses, right? In order for you to get the growth that you want, you have to work with the people that are going to get you there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's another thing is like don't feel like you have to take everybody on. In the beginning, you might feel that way because you're just trying to bring the income in, but eventually you get to work with exactly who you want to work with,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
actually that in my experience slows you down. And it can be very
Yes.
frustrating
Yes.
because then they don't do the stuff and take the action that you know will make the difference. And that's
Right.
very frustrating
Mhm.
because it's only the coachee doing the thing. I mean, it's slightly different with yours because you're putting all of that together for them and then kind of handing it over and it's working. It's more automated after that, right? With the
Yeah.
funnel and that. But if somebody's not taking the action when you're saying, this is what's going to make the difference, this is what you need to go and do,
Right.
they're not doing it.
Mhm.
That can slow you down and make you doubt yourself because they're not getting the results that you know they could get if they were taking the action.
Exactly. And even in what I do, Lucy, at the very beginning part of it, the onboarding, they have to fill it out and they have to take the time to really think about it and be detailed in their answers,
Yeah.
I still need that in order to create an amazing product. I
Yes.
need them to put the time into it so that I can create it, you know? And then I will build the rest of it out. But the beginning part, I have had clients before who just give like 2, 3 word answers. And then if you're going to do that, it's sort of a waste of resources because it's a waste of time and money for you to put that kind of thing into it. Of course, I can build it out for you. I can actually use what I think is appropriate and create it myself. But I would be much happier if you were very involved in choosing the categories, choosing the questions. gives you the freedom to really think about who your ideal client is and what their pain points are. I can do it, but it's not going to be really based on everything that you know.
Yeah, it's worth taking the time for
Mm-hmm.
sure and making that effort. Fantastic. Minnie, is there anything else you want to share before we end up on
Oh
this call?
gosh, I think it's the same message that I've been giving through the whole thing is that if you are starting something, you're excited about your business and you feel like, wow, the whole year has gone by and you thought it would be at a different level, definitely think about just taking a step. Take a step and then every day improve by 1%. Just do one little thing towards your business that's going to take it to the next level. And then surround yourself by the people that can help you get there.
Truly.
Like
Makes a
Lucy
difference.
and, other people who you are at the stage where you need help with specific things. Surround yourself with that. And then take a breath that this is your path and you're going to get there, and focus on the image of who you really are and who you're going to be, and you will get there.
Yeah, 100%. Beautiful, beautiful final words. So with that, we're going to say goodbye. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll put Minnie's details in the comments so that if you'd like to book that call, then you absolutely can. Minnie, thank you so much for joining us and sharing
Thank
all your
you,
goodies.
Lucy. Yeah, thank you so much. It was so much fun.
Oh, it's been brilliant. Thank you. Bye
Yeah.
now, everyone.